So maybe you're thinking about launching a website because you're going to launch a business or a side hustle, or you just want to show off your work. Maybe you're just exploring Squarespace as a tool because you're using Wix or some other tool like WordPress, and you're just not really satisfied with the back-end user experience. In this video, I'm going to do an overview of Squarespace, show you how to use the tool, and show you how you can build out pages on the platform and things to consider while you're building. This is going to be a great overview to get you started, and honestly, you should be able to build out a site with this video to understand how to lay out content, create sections, create pages, and all of that. We're going to go through some high-level details and really get you set up. And one small note before we begin, just to make sure we're on the same page, I've built over 150 websites on Squarespace, probably touched over 1,000 sites on the platform as well. So I have a lot of experience with the platform. And just a few months ago, they released this amazing update where most people don't even know about. And it makes the tool one of the most powerful tools out there. Personally, in my opinion, I think it's the best tool out there right now. Yes, I said the best. It is better than Webflow. So let me show you why. Let me show you how. It makes it so easy for you to build a beautiful, great, useful, and easy to maintain website. All right, so here we go. I'm on Squarespace. You can go in here and then look at the templates and pick out a template. Honestly, it does not matter what template you choose because at the end of the day, all the templates give you all the functionality of every other template. So if you really like this look and then later on you like this look, well, you could easily switch it. So it doesn't really matter where you start as this is all demo content and we're gonna replace it anyway. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to hover over whichever one you want to start with and hit start with that specific template. In my case, I'm a developer. I've done this a while. So I have the starter template that I use. The reason this template's so valuable is I have all the sections that I typically use on a site pre-built, the layouts, and I'm going to show you why that's valuable in a moment. Plus I have the what I call design page already pre-built, so I could see how the design and look and feel is gonna look on the website as I'm building it right from the beginning, so I could save a ton of time. All right, so let's talk about the templates. You have 3 pages of over 70 sections that are created, and honestly, we're only gonna add more and more and more as we grow because this is really the hardest part of web design is deciding how to lay out content and make it consistent across the site. But if you have all these sections pre-built, which are mobile friendly or mobile optimized and SEO optimized already out the gate, man, you are set to win. All you need to do to actually use them is be able to go into the editor and then click in, let it load. And then once you find a section you like, you just hit the heart, it's a saved section, and then from there you could go to any page on your site and just hit my save section, boom, it's right there, and you could add it in. And you just add in a new section just like that. Everything is already optimized, pre-built for you. Also, we have 7 footers that are pre-built in here as well that you could use right away. So you don't have to consider building all these sections. They're already made for you. And let's see what else we got. Let's look at the other wireframes too, because these will be helpful. This is for like service or major highlights, a ton of content. Again, just really beautiful layouts. The sections look really nice. They flow really, really nice. Like, I love these sections. These are just so beautiful. They offer so much content and position. Great for galleries. We got video spaces. We got the FAQ. Literally every kind of section you could think of that you could use for your site already pre-built. If you want to check this out, I have a resource link down below, but let's get into it now. So the first thing that's going to happen when you open it is it's just going to ask you to give it a name. So you want to give it a name. I'm going to call this Anchor Now. That's my store name. I'll hit continue. They're going to give you a few tips of how to understand the back end. I'm just going to hit close and we'll go from there. All right, so once you're in here, you're on the back end. Let me just show you an overview of what we're looking at. First and foremost, you'll see this menu on the left where you have pages, design, commerce, marketing, all this. The most important ones we're going to work with are going to be pages, design, and settings. So I'm going to do a few adjustments to settings first. That's where we're going to start. Then we'll go to pages and then design and then pages and then get into some stuff. And then up here in the top right corner, you'll see you have these three options. Right now it's selected on desktop view. You also have mobile view, so you can get a feel of what it looks like on mobile. And then from there, you could click this little arrow, which gives you the full site look and feel. So just bear in mind that when you're working on the site in the backend, you're going to have this like weird domain. I have pigeon turbot 7pna.squarespace.com. Every Squarespace website will have a built-in, what they call built-in domain. So we could adjust this to be a little bit more on brand. But just know that this /config is the backend. So you'll never share this with anyone because it doesn't give them access. It doesn't show them what you see. It just gives them a link to the backend that they can access. So if you want to show them the actual backend, you'll click this arrow. You see that? And now this is the home page. And boom, they could see the full site. If I go into pages and I go to my design page for images, and then I click here, you'll see it gives me the actual URL of the page. Important to bear that in mind as you're working through this. So that's URLs. Now, let's go to settings. I'm going to just change a few things to get started. I'm going to go to domains. I'm going to click on the built-in domain. I'm going to change this to our brand name. So it's relevant, all that. It's going to say the scary message. Something's going to break. Nothing's going to break. It's all fine. Hit confirm. If it's taken, it'll tell you, but it looks like we're good to go. So refresh the page. And now we're working from a good actual built-in domain. Then we'll go to settings. And in here, you could do a few other things. I'll just highlight these because we don't need to do it right now. But one of the things you could do is go to site availability. You can't set it public until you pay for it. So just bear that in mind. And then there's this password protected. So you could add a password to your site. So if you do want to share it with someone, you can. And I'll just hit save, added a simple password there. Back here, you could update business info and just add in basic information about your business, your company, your hours, all of that. Could be good for SEO like this much, but you could do that if you have it. If you don't have it, it's fine. Just skip it. Come in here. You could add in your social links. This will be useful later. So I'm just going to type in Instagram.com and then I'm going to add in Facebook.com and then I'll add Twitter.com. Perfect. You'll see it updates the links right away and this is all set up. It'll be useful later. So whatever social links you have, you could do that. So connected accounts gives you an overview of accounts that you could connect that you could potentially pull or push data to. This isn't really too important right now, so we'll just skip that. Extensions is really useful. If you're going to do shipping, you could connect ShipStation. If you're going to want to do like any of this type of stuff, you could do it. Any of this print on demand stuff. Sales and marketing gives you a few tools here, and then some business tools. So it's useful. It's still being built out, so it's a bit new, but it could be useful. Permissions is how you add people to the site. So you could just add people's email and add them. Google Workspace, billing, we'll get to that later. Billing is where you'll pay for the site. And so when you're ready to pay for it, that's where you'll get that set up. Use promo code Iskander and you'll get a discount, most likely. No promises, but you should. Mobile information bar. This is really good if you do have a physical location like a restaurant or something. It'll add a little bar at the bottom of the site. Let me show you what it looks like. Enable. You don't see it because you're not in mobile. But if you go to mobile and then you enable it, I need to add the email. Let me go back. Remember those business settings? So if I add information here, perfect. That's my phone number. Don't call me. If I add in information there and I go to mobile info bar, I could add that in, hit save, and then I'll refresh, take a look. So you should be able to refresh and see it. I'm not seeing it right now, but it's a little bar down here that shows up that just shows these little icons where you can make it really easy for people to click to call you, to email you, to find your location, or see business hours. All right, cookies and visitors, we'll just leave that for now. Blogging, both of those are set well. Advanced is where you could get into like the fancy stuff of like Google Analytics, all of that stuff. Code injection, URL mapping, doesn't matter right now. SSL is active, that's fine. The big things are if somebody's like, oh, you need to add code to the header, you go to code injection and this is where you add the code. And then if you want to add Google Analytics, you could do that here and go from there. All right, so that's an overview of settings, but now let's get into pages and really get to work, all right? So what's really cool about Squarespace is, let me give you some high-level overview pieces here. First and foremost, you have this main navigation, you have this members area, and then you have not linked. I'm going to close this out to get rid of these steps. Members area does not matter unless you're building a members area. Not linked confuses most people. I get emails all the time about this not linked section. What does it mean? What do I add here? If I put a page there, is it still accessible? Yes. Not linked just basically means it's not in your main navigation. And your main navigation is this section right here. So you could have a ton of pages down here, and even I'll show you how we have it set up on our site. We have a ton of content, and so not everything goes in main navigation. And if anything, the way I build things out is typically with links in the main navigation. So you see here, this is a link, a link, a link. These little icons indicate what they are. So these are links. This is a folder. This is a blog. This is a page. And so we have a ton of content down here, but you could access this in different ways. You could access it down here. We have a ton of links down here that point people to different pages on the site. So the not linked section, that's what that's for. Usually when I build a new page on a site, I start in the not linked section. So let's click on the plus sign. You have a ton of options here. First one is a blank page, page layout, scheduling. Cool. They're all basically the same. It's like marketing. It's just really good marketing. They're all the same. I always start with a blank page. Collections. Now, this is where it could get really confusing. I'm going to keep this very high level, and I have other video content that walks you through this. If you're building a blog, if you're building a store, if you're building a portfolio, events, or videos, this is where you start. Okay, so you would choose one of these because a blog has a certain structure, and it's not just pages. And just to be clear, you create one blog could have hundreds and hundreds of posts in it. You don't need to create separate blogs. That may sound obvious, but I've seen it before. Store, you create one store and you could have hundreds of products in there. Portfolio, you could have a ton of portfolio items in there. And then events and then videos. So these are all what they call collections. A collection is anything that has like this hierarchy of like this main section of like /blog and then / the specific post, / store, / the specific product in the store, and so on. Now, down here we have folders and links. Folders and links work really well just for the back end here to really organize stuff, get things out. All right. So we would build a page by going in here. I'm going to click blank page. I just want to show you this experience. I'm going to just type in home, press enter. The first thing we're going to get is once this page is built, I'll click on edit. And now we're in the editor. Now we're editing and designing the page. Now, number one, this is live. You are making changes to the website live. So what I mean is as soon as I hit save, if this is your homepage and it's currently live, it will be a live change. There's no holding area, or I'm forgetting the word right now. What's the word? Like there's no mock area where you can like build something out and test it. There's other ways to do that, but in the template, there's no way doing that. So as you're building out content, just be mindful of that. There's no holding area. I'm forgetting the word, but there's no holding area. All right. And when you're on a page, there are 3 sections. There are 3 important parts, right? So there's this edit site header, there's the actual page content, and then there's this footer. So header is on every single page of your website. Footer is on every single page of your website. You can't have one header have certain links and another header have different links and a footer have different links. Like they go across your whole site and they repeat across your whole site and they look exactly the same, which is very normal and is good for websites. It's really, really good for websites. Sometimes people don't like that. I don't know why, but good user experience, it works really well. So when I edit the page content, that's why these are separate, because the page content here is specific for the homepage. So I'm going to hit add section. And this is what I really want to show you. Squarespace, you had all these templates to start, but they give you all these pre-built sections. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't really use all of these sections, but there's a lot of inspiration here to get started. A lot of these sections kind of work. And the reason is, I could explain it more, but that's why I built the template, because these are a good start, but like really there's a lot more you can do and make it really, really beautiful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in one of these with the big background image. I'll add in a section like that. Boom. Now the background image is added, and then I'll go to add section, and then I'm going to add an about section, which will just be text center, something simple like this. Maybe I'll add a button, maybe I'll make the text bigger, but we'll get to that. And then I'll hit add section, and then here we'll add a section with let's say three columns. So maybe like services, I'll take a look here. Something like this. I don't really need these three like different image cutouts, but I'll show you how to change that. Then I'll hit add section, and then I will add another section here. Let's just say one with a full background image. Yeah, let's say something like this for now. And then I'll add in a testimonial section, a simple one like this for now, and then a final, what I call period at the end of the sentence. So here we'll do like a contact. No, that's too much. I'll go intro. I really want a form on this, but I'll just start with something like this, and a breakout like this. And actually, I don't even need the form. That sign up will just be a contact. So just like that, you can see I've built out a page. Now, there's a lot more we could do with the editing. I'm going to leave that for a moment because I want to get back to design and then come back to the editor, because maybe you're looking at your fonts right now or the colors and they're just bugging you. So this was an intro to pages. Now we're going to go in depth into design, and then we'll come back to editing in depth on here because we've added all this content, but now we need to personalize it. So I'll come up here and hit save, and we are good to go. All right, so I'm going to go back to my design page. You could build this out. Again, you could check out the link below. But on this page here, I have these sections built out. There's 10 sections built out, and I'll show you why right now. So if I go to home, we're going to go to design. Few things you could do here before we get into the main work of site styles. Browser icon, that little icon in the top corner, that cube, replace it. Put your little icon there. If you need to just make a little A or a B or a C, whatever your brand name is, just make it and put it there. Don't leave the cube. It looks a little tacky. It's the default. You want to get rid of it. So the browser icon, replace that with a little tiny square icon. Also, social sharing, you could pay attention to that as well. Add a graphic there so it makes your link more compelling. This is that link that when you share a link on like iMessage or Facebook or Instagram DM or on Twitter and an image pops up with the link, well, that's the link right there. So you could update that image, or sorry, that file there to be whatever image you want. So let's go to site styles. Now this is amazing and beautiful. I'm going to give you my recommendations on how to do this, keeping it really simple. Don't overcomplicate it, especially if you're launching a brand for the first time. I'm going to show you how to get this up and running quickly and easily. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to spacing because I want to adjust the spacing, the width of the page. 1440 pixels wide is the ideal spacing for the page. So I'm going to start there. And then site margin, this is 4. I'm just going to do 3. It just gives me a little bit more space on the page to work. We're good to go. Simple, easy, done. Then we're going to take a look at fonts. Now, Squarespace has made this tremendously easy. Most platforms have made this ridiculously complicated. So let me show you how this works. Number one, you have the space size. I recommend keeping it 16. Maybe you could go down to 15, and you could definitely go up to maybe like 19 or 20, but don't go below 15. You want to keep the base font the right size, because if it's too small, everything else gets too big across. It gets really weird. The math gets really weird. So 16, I'm going to keep it there. Then I'm going to go to switch here. Before I touch the global styles, I'm going to go to their font pairing. So I'll hit switch. And then in here, they give you these pre-built font packs, which is amazing. And so there's a sans serif, there's serif, and then there's mixed. I'm going to go to mix, and I'm going to start here. And you can just start clicking on these and kind of see what you like. Now, this is a good point. I just clicked on this, nothing happened. I'll click on the next one, something changed, and it caught up to itself. Now I'll click back on it, we're good to go. Just like that is really easy to fix. Sometimes there's like weird things like that. It'll end up working itself out, but just so you know. Now let's take a look at Oh No Blazeface. This is interesting, it's cool. Now, this is why I have all these sections built out to see what the font looks like on all these. Looks okay, it's a little demanding, but let's see this. This is really fancy, cool, all right. But you could come in here and pick a font that you really like, that you feel fits your brand and feel, that is nice. Maybe it's too big, we could adjust the sizing in a minute, but for now, let's just focus on getting fonts that feel right to the brand that we're building. So let's take a look here. I might go through a few more. Basically, I think I like this as a good starter. I think this is a great starting point for us. Again, these are the 10 sections that I have built out, and then those are my footers that I have part of the template. So yeah, this looks great. I think this is a really good start. I'm just gonna work with this and I'll go back. And then down here, you could come in here if you wanna make some adjustments, you can. So there's headings, paragraphs, buttons, and then miscellaneous. Now, these are headings, these are paragraphs, these are the buttons, and then miscellaneous is like the random stuff on the site, like this, or like the where the logo is going to be, and there's other stuff too. So for the headings, we have this new Spirit condensed font. All right, and currently it's set to 600, but let's just say I really want it to be thinner. I just really like the thinner font. So I could go in there and adjust it and adjust the weight accordingly. I could have it bolder, whatever I like, adjust the line height, any of that, letter spacing, all of that. Then from there, you have the actual heading 1, heading 2, 3, and 4 font sizing. I wouldn't worry about this too much now because it looks ideal. Maybe you're looking at it's really big for you or really small. You can make adjustments. Here are my pro tips. Number 1, heading 1 should always be the biggest. So don't do this. Like, it should never look like heading 1 is smaller than heading 2. That should never happen on the site. It should always be heading 1 is the biggest. Because it's actually being tagged in the code that way. And that's all I'll say for now, but heading 1 should always be the biggest. Number 2, rem is this like fancy CSS thing. CSS rem, what does it mean? Rem is short for root EM. Units dictate an element's font size relative to the size of the root. Remember the base font was 16? So this is saying be 6 times 16. So times 16, 96. So the font size here is 96. So if I change this to 96 pixels, you'll see it basically stays exactly the same. The only thing I'd recommend is don't do that, because when you change it to mobile, it doesn't adjust properly. You'll see this like looks weird compared to this. So I would keep it rem and I would work off a rem. So boom, there you go. It's good to go. Line height is good. 1.2 is good for headings. For body, I like it to be like 1.6, just around there, but we're good. So we'll go to paragraphs. Same thing here. You have full control. You'll see line height is 1.6, which is great. It's really legible on devices. All of that looks good. I kind of like paragraph 1 to not be smaller than 1 rem. And then paragraph 2, in this case, could be a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll go there, and then this could be like 1 point. Yeah, I'll do that, 1.8. So again, everything flows. It's nice, looks really good. You could come in here to the buttons, change that. You could assign styles here. Assigning styles is basically like site style. Where do you want to pull its size, look, and feel? Menu, nav, font, how do you want to do that? It gives you literally like full control of everything, but you're also able to adjust it and coordinate it, as you can see here, in like 5 minutes. So easy to do. From here, let's take a look at colors. All right, so colors is really powerful. Here are the 10 sections that I have listed on the page. So you see lightest 1 is right here, lightest 2 is below that, then we go to light 1 and then light 2, all of that. All right, now when we get into picking colors, I'm gonna hit edit palette. And then in here, everything really dictates off this middle color here. So I recommend have one main color for your site. For now, don't overcomplicate it, especially if you're just starting out. Pick one main color. So what I'll do is I'll make sure I'm selected on that middle color, and then I'll choose that color. So usually we use a hex code. So I'll come in here and I will pick a color. I was using some colors yesterday, so I'm just gonna choose this color and I'll paste that in. Boom, it's this green. Now, this is really cool. You could do a few things. There's these like presets. I've never used these presets before. They have from image, so you could upload an image and it could pull colors from that, which is cool. Try it out, why not? From color, as long as you add in this middle color, it'll give you these 4 design styles that you could use for your site and you could test them out. So here, I'll choose this one first. Take a look. Boom, look at that. Looks branded, feels really nice. Literally took 2 seconds and I'm like, this is great. This looks really nice. I literally started with one color, but maybe it's a little too much. So I'll go for something like this. This is like all shades of green, which looks really nice. This is beautiful, feels super modern. That's nice. Complementary is nice. It's just a lot more like flavor involved. And then monochromatic is also really nice. So I think my two favorites are going to be monochromatic or this one here. I'll probably go, I honestly always go monochromatic. The look and feel is great here. And it's really like, again, we just did this in like 2 minutes. Got started, got it all built. Usually the white, you want to keep white, maybe a bit of an off-white. And then the black, you could do like an off-black. Now I'll go back to colors. You could go into here and start editing sections. The only main edit I do here is if I do have another color that I want to use. Let's say, for example, for bright, no, let's go to light 2 and light 1. One thing I'll do, this is advanced, so if you skip this, that's okay. So if I go to light 1, one thing I might do is I actually might change the background. So actually got to change this again, light 1. I'll change the background to like an off gray instead of the green, because that just gives me a section, one more section I could work with. What color did I choose? D6. Cool. It just gives me one more section color I could use, and often a background of like a gray is very normal on websites, so it's nice. The only thing I'd have to come in here and do is change all these like font colors so they're just black versus this like random, the green just doesn't look good together. Cool, and you can see it's already looking a lot better just like that. And then I could keep the buttons, change the buttons, figure that out. Same thing here, like maybe I want to keep this way, or I just want to make all of this black, which I can do. But you'll see you have full control of all of these sections to design them out the way you like. Now, basically there, I am done with site styles. I can do more later, but I don't want to get overly caught in trying to make it perfect when I haven't even put content on the page yet. The next thing I'll take a look at could be animations, but again, I don't even want to touch that yet. The most important one right now is going to be buttons. And the reason this is important is you have these 3 buttons here. There's primary, secondary, and I don't even know how to say this, tertiary, 3, whatever. So primary, I want to set the tone for all the buttons now so we're on the same page. So shape here is square. I'm going to change it to this like oval. And then from there, I'm actually going to do no fill. And then I'll go here to the outline and set it to 2. Perfect. That looks great. I think the spacing is just right. I can make it a little bit smaller, but actually I really like it. Once I'm done designing it, getting the feel, you could change the font, all of that, I'll hit apply to all button styles, which is great. So I'll get that set up. And then I could come back here and then do fill. And then now I have like 2 separate styles of buttons. Typically the one with a fill is a main call to action, and the blank one, or the one that has no fill, is going to be a transitional call to action. So now we have like priority or a hierarchy of the buttons, easily designed with speed, literally so easy. We're good to go. Cool. And that's it. That's designing the site. And now all of these design styles are going to go with you wherever you go in the site. So I'm going to hit save and give it a moment. Okay, great. Now we've designed out this page. We're good to go. I'll go into pages and let me go back to the home page. Now the home page is going to have a different feel. Look at that. It already looks really nice. Like there's a lot we could do with this to really adjust it to really feel the way we want. But like, look how branded that looks. We've been doing this for what, 20, 30 minutes? You're literally an expert. You got to slow down. You're about to take all my business. All right. So we have the site. Now we could start building out pages and content. And I'm going to get into the weeds here of pages and designing pages and making sure you really like the feel. So I'm going to click edit and we're going to get into it now. Once I'm in here, you know you're in the editor when you start seeing all these blue boxes show up with all the content. Now, when you're designing a page, you got to consider both desktop and mobile. I use these templates so things are already pre-built properly, but let's build a section without a template, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to recreate this section here. So I'm going to hit add section, and then I'm going to hit add a blank section. Boom, just like that, we've added a section. I'll click add block. And then the first thing I'm going to do is add in text. And now you'll see where it shows up. Now, a shortcut you need to know. G on your keyboard. The G on your keyboard shows you this grid. This is the grid you're getting to build on that's going to hold your content on your site. So I could drag this out. You'll see once it's center, it's going to be the yellow line pops up. I'll put that there. And then next, I'll write in our tagline. So I'll say, we are the best, boom. And you'll see it starts with this paragraph 2. You could click here and change it to H1. Awesome. You could also use the keyboard shortcut. I'm on a Mac, so Command Option 3, 4, 5, 6 does all the fonts, like you go 1 through 6, and then Command Shift E centers it. But again, you could just click here and do it as well. So that's center. We're good to go. Then I'll add in another block. I'll click text. And again, it just adds it to the corner, and I'll just drag it down. And let me put it there, and I'll just make it a little bit wider. What's center? That's center there. And then here, I'll just drop in some lorem ipsum. There's a lot of lorem ipsum, so I'll get rid of most of that. That's still a lot, so I'll do that. And then again, I'll center it. We're good to go. Perfect. And then third, I'll add in a button. So we'll come in here. You could always do a search too if you're like, I don't see it. You'll add in a button. You'll drag this down. And we're good to go. I'm going to show you more details of these blocks in a second here, but what I want to show you is now how do you add the background image? You don't just click add block and add an image. You need to add it to the actual section here. So I'll click edit section, and then from there, there's a few options. You have format, background, colors. So background is adding an image, video, or what they call art. I'll show you what art is just for a moment. Art are these like cool, interesting designs that you could like cycle through and find random ones that you might like or whatever. And we could figure that out. You could see it's kind of hard to read the text. I'll show you how to fix that in a sec. But you could pick any of these and be like, yeah, I really like this interesting floating design. But it's a little hard to read. So you go to colors, and currently we're selected on what? I don't know. Lightest one. I'll choose darkest or something like that. That would make this a little bit more legible. In this case, the white or the black is kind of hard to read on this section. And it might just be because there's that. Yeah, it's still hard to read. So we could figure out kind of what we could do there. But you can make adjustments accordingly. So I'll go to background, and I'm going to go to image, and then I'll click the plus sign. Now, when you click the plus sign, there's a few options. Number one, you could upload something from your computer, obvious and easy. But then you could select from a library. So if you've already uploaded it to your site, it should be there. And then you have browse stock images. These two buttons basically take you to the same spot. So if I hit select from library, you'll see I could choose from my library, or I could browse stock images. There's free images, and then there's premium images. So premium means you pay for it. So these images here, this is beautiful. I'll click on that. I'll click add image. We're good to go. You could do a search. You could look for images. I really like that image that I just saw, so I'll add that in. That's beautiful. Once I add that in, you have like image effects, but like I'll just focus on this opacity. I'm going to change it to a higher opacity, but what I'll do is I'll go back to colors and start to play with this. Yeah, something like this might work better for us. It just really depends on how we want this to look. I'll probably do something. Let's do something like that for now and kind of see where we're at. All right, let me hit edit section, background. Yeah, that looks great. I think we're off to a great start for now. Now let's talk about format. There's a few things to notice here and a few things to pay attention to. Row count. Rule of thumb here is you basically want row count to be at its minimum, which means to the amount of content that you have. So you don't want rows to make a space bigger. If you want the page to be bigger, you want to just change the height. You see how that changed the amount of space it's taking up? This is a better way to fill the space versus like rows. You don't want to like try to add rows in to make it take up more space. You see that? That's like weird. You just want it to be at the very minimum and then let the section fill itself. Now, there's this fill screen option here, and there's this gap option. Let me show you what these are. So if you really want sections to fill the screen, so say for example, let me pull up a new section here. I'm going to hit add section. I'm going to add this in, and then I'm going to add it in, and then I'm going to add it in one more time. Do you see how these images touch? Well, it's because if I click edit section, you'll see that there's this fill screen option is turned off. So it basically is filling the screen. So if I check this on, you'll see that there's this extra padding here, which is either small, medium, or large. And we don't want that. We want it to touch we want the grid to go all the way to the top on this section. So it's really easy for us to see that this is now gonna like touch that section. But let's say, for example, you want this content. Let me do this for you here. I'm just using the arrows on my keyboard. You want that section to go there and this section to go here. But there's this weird issue. Do you see how there's like, I can't show you. There's like a gap between those images. Well, it's because there's a gap in the actual rows. So if I click on this and then I go to this one and I do the same thing and I click on this, you could adjust the spacing accordingly. So it has like more, this is like weird breathing room. There's like no breathing room. So we need to fix that, but that's how you would adjust it. So I can make this a little bit taller if I want, and then make this a little bit taller. But if I want those sections to touch like that, that's how I do it. I'd come in here, I'd adjust these accordingly to make sure everything fits well. Adjust this so it doesn't overlap. You don't want boxes to really overlap unless they're like meant to, like photos to overlap, and work from there. Cool. So you can come in here, make those adjustments, make those changes, and get it all coordinated. But that's how this edit section works. Now, big note while we've been working, let's just say, for example, I want to add a text box right above this text box, just a small one. And I click on that, I add it in. I can click on this, this, and this, and then move them together, which is great. And once I do that, I could drag this text box up here. Again, center it the way I like. Let's say, boom, that's center. You'll see those little yellow lines pop up. And then type in company value. We crush it, whatever it says. Cool. So let's just do company value, bold, center. Perfect. Doesn't need to be 2 lines, so cool. So I could add in that bullet there. We're good to go. That's in there. Now, the one thing to note is you see this little blue dot here. Anytime you add a block to the page, this blue dot is going to pop up. It doesn't notify you. It doesn't like tell you like, hey, double check before you leave. So if I hit save, something weird could happen, which is basically if I go to the mobile view, you're going to see here that the mobile view is actually backwards. The company value is now at the bottom because I added it in last. So you just have to pay attention to that. It's a little bit unfortunate, but it makes sense because they can't tell where you put something. So they just add it to the very bottom. I'll drag that to the top, and then I'll come in here and adjust this and drag it down. Boom, just like that, we're good to go. Again, these sections here, maybe I actually want the photo up at the top, and then I want this content to go below it. So I just click and drag it down. And once I have it where I want it, I'm good to go. I'll probably add a little bit more spacing to it, but you'll see it's really easy to set that up. And again, I would probably put the photo at the top here, click and drag these items down and go from there. And now you can see we're designing a site. So I've built out 3 sections and I have not hit save. It's probably a good time just to hit save to be sure we're in a good place. All right, so I've hit save. Now we could come back into the page and look at our site and start to see this come to life. We're like, yeah, this is tight. The sections look really good. We're really making progress. All right, let's get into some nitty gritty stuff that will help you just be a better editor while you're on the site. First and foremost, once you're in here, you have a lot of options. So if I click on, say, the button, you'll see you have this edit option here, but then you have this like additional options. You could duplicate content. So I could like click and drag, see these 4 items and duplicate it. Or I could just click here and say, this is a primary button, or is it a secondary button, or is it that tertiary button, whatever. I'll just keep it at primary. Then if I click edit, this is where I actually adjust the link. So here I'm going to say book consultation, just like that. And then here I'm going to put the link for like our book page. Boom, just like that. Then I'll hit design. Again, this is the same option we just saw. It gives you these 3 styles. I'm going to keep it as primary, but I'm also going to hit fit. What fit does is it matches the exact styling that you have that we did in the site styles. Because if I do fill, watch this. If I do fill and I just drag this, the button will be whatever size you want, which could look really cool if you want it to do something like this, but also you may not want to do that. So in this case, I'll go back to, I'll double click on it and I'll hit design. And double click is something you could do for like almost the entire website. Just click, double click, and you're good to go. But I'll double click into it and hit fit. And that is the proper sizing. So even if I drag it, it'll get to a certain point and just stop because the words fell on 2 lines, but it got a little bit bigger. But in this case, it'll just go to where you need it. You're good to go. Boom. Now that is designed. What we can do further is, let me just add an image block here just so we could have that experience. I'll click image. You'll see there's a ton of options here. And then there's this whole like stacking thing. So if I want this image to go in the foreground, I could do that, the background, or in front, whatever. Here is how do you want the image to align, which matters once you choose the image. So I'll hit the pencil, I'll click plus, I'll do upload a file, I'll choose a file from my computer, or I'll go back and I'll hit browse stock images. Here, I'll choose this image here, I'll add that in. Once you add it in, it's really easy to manage. There's a lot of options here. So once this is in here, I'm gonna hit design. There's fit, fill, shape, and then shape, you have a ton of options. So I'm gonna keep it at this shape right here. And then they have this like stretch thing. So it stretches to the size of the box that you have. I'm just gonna keep it as a perfect circle and we're good to go. Would I make any other changes here? No. But remember, I was just showing you, if I drag this out and make it bigger, let's say here, I want it to align to the left, I can do that. If I want it to align to the right, I could do that. If I want it center, I could do that. If I want it to align to the top or the bottom, depending on the shape, it'll adjust accordingly. So this way, I'm gonna keep it aligned center and align center vertically. So that's all good to go. What's cool about this, let's go back to the grid. You're getting a full in-depth lesson here. When we're looking at the grid, don't you see how the grid kind of ends here? This is what we set earlier, the 1440 pixels, that is the width. I'm on a pretty large screen, so it goes a lot wider. But let's say you want this to touch the edge. Well, you just drag it and you let go of it and you're good to go. And it'll fill up all the way to the edge, the same way this photo does. If I click and drag this, you'll see there's this like breakpoint here where if I drag it to the end of the grid, it either goes to the end of the grid or it goes to the end of the screen. There's kind of no middle ground. And it's because that's just the way it's designed. So you could figure out how you want it to lay out and how you want it to look. And then if you're still confused and you're like, I don't know if I like it like that or if I want it to look different or whatever, well, you could just hit done, save, and then just play with the screen size and find what you like. But with everything, you could just double click in, go in, replace the photo, change the photo, add a link to the photo, whatever you like as you are designing. But once you do that, always make sure you go to the mobile view to make sure you like the design and the layout here. As you can see here, there's a lot of dead space down here. So if I hit edit section, it's probably because the alignment is off. Now, I don't know why it's doing that. So I'll hit align top and then I'll do align center. And then let me see. It just might be a weird glitch for a moment, but if it says align center, it's probably align center. So we're good to go from there. Now, the other thing to consider here is that this is really confusing. And if you're not an expert with it, it's just going to confuse you, but I'll try to do my best to explain it. Some of the changes that you make on mobile are just for mobile, and some of the changes you make on mobile are for desktop and mobile. So the primary one that is just for mobile is where you place the blocks. So if you reorganize the blocks, if you make them bigger or smaller, like if you make this button smaller or you make it bigger, whatever you decide to do here on mobile is just for mobile. So if I go back to desktop, the button did not change at all. It stayed in the exact same position, nothing changed. But if I go to the button and then I hit align to the left, well, it will align to the left on desktop as well. So you just got to bear that in mind, that any of those like actual property changes to the specific item, it will change it. So if you say like, we are the best, but you want to add like an extra exclamation point on mobile, or you're like, I want it to break here. Like I want 2 lines here. Well, it'll do the same thing on desktop. So it'll make that adjustment accordingly as you go through building on the site. So you'll see now this looks a little bit funny. It's a little bit off in comparison because now this is off to the left when we want it center. And then now this is 2 lines when it could just be 1. Cool. That was a really in-depth breakdown. If you have been watching this throughout, take a pause, go get yourself a coffee, get yourself an ice cream, get yourself whatever. You're doing great. We're just about complete. Now, one thing I do want to say, and this is why I love my template so much, is I'm going to delete this image right here. I'll just get rid of that. Once you build a section that you love, that you'll think you'll use multiple times on your site, and you love the desktop and the mobile version, you could click this heart. What this heart does is it saves it as a save section. So if I hit add section here on any page on my website, if I go to my save sections, well, you'll see it's here now, which is beautiful. The only thing to consider is that it's not synced live. So if you make one update to the original version of it, it's not going to update the other versions of it. That's actually a really good thing. I was a little bummed out at first, but when I started using it, it makes a lot of sense that it doesn't sync live. So you'll be good to go. So just like that, we're building out our page. In here, again, I'll come in here and adjust these. I never want the blocks to take up extra space if they don't have to. For this section, I would love to add a button that goes to our about page. So I'll click there, do that, go about us, and then just type in /about. For links, let's talk about links. You could do / and then anything that your site has built, any page your site has. So for here, I have like these design pages. As soon as I start typing it, it'll show it. And so you could add that in. So in this case, I usually use about for an about page. So I'll just put that there until I build out the page. Also, you get really advanced. If you click the settings wheel, it gives you a few options. If you want to open it in a new window, you could totally do that. I always recommend that for external links. If you're linking to someone else's website, link it externally, have it open in a new window. But at the same time, you also have all these other options. If you want to link on a page, that's where we're at right now. If you want to link to a different website, if you want to link a file, you could upload files to your site, link that as well. If you want to link to an email, and then it even gives you these options for like subject, body, CC, all this. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I would just do like 2 and leave it at that, unless you really want to be fancy and add all that in. But it kind of, in my opinion, is a little intrusive. I don't know. I don't personally like it. Then you have phone number, which is great. So you could add in tell or text, which is really cool. I don't even know what you would do with text like that, but that's awesome. So you just add in the phone number and they could text right away, which is awesome. So I'll go back to page here and I have that there. So I'll hit save. And then once I'm good to go, yeah, you'll see it actually changed it. So let me go back and then go to about. Perfect. Design. We're good to go here. I'll go to fit again. So I really like the spacing to be consistent across the site. And then I'll take a look at mobile and make sure the experience is just right here. Looks good. There's just extra spacing here. So I'll get rid of that. And then I'll drag that up. And then again, like I said earlier, I'll drag this up so that it just center on the page. From there, I'll hit done and hit save. Boom, we're good to go. That section is saved. We have it built out. Awesome. Now let me go edit. This section up here is a duplicate, so I'll actually get rid of it at this point. I'll remove it. Awesome. And then we have this as our intro. Now, let's talk about building out a form. I think a form is worth talking about in this video because that's a really popular item. Let's just say we want to add a form to this section. So I'll hit add block, and then I will search for a form, find that, and then I'll just drag this down here, and then we're going to build out a form right here. All right, so a form has a lot of options. I'll click edit. This is the pre-built-in form. You have content, design, storage. For content, we just name the form. This is just on the back end. I'll just say contact form. This is the text on the button, so we could hit send, or we can make it say send. Here's where you edit the form fields, which you have a ton of options here. If you hit add field, you could add in all these different options: radio, select, phone number, text, name, email, all that. My personal just like recommendations, I usually don't use phone number because you'll see here, it shows up in 3 separate boxes. Most people don't type out their phone number like that. I'll just use text and literally just use that. They do have a number field, but I don't use that because you can't enter in any additional, this number field right here. You can't add in any additional, like, what are those things called? Parentheses around the number or the dashes. it just doesn't, it has to only be numbers, which is a little weird to me. You can't control it, but text works great. And then with text, I just do this. It's super simple. Nobody even notices. Phone number, done. And then set it to required. We're good to go. That's all good to go. So that's how you set up those. Post submit is if you want to send them somewhere afterwards. So if you want to redirect them to a thank you page, you could just type in thank you, boom. It'll redirect them to that page. Just make sure you build it. You'll be good to go. Or you could just have a thank you message here and we're set. Now we go to design. You could say, where do you want the button to be aligned? I want the button to be center. Lightbox is if you want it to be a form, like a button. So you can have it like this, and this could be contact us. And it'll show up as a light box, which is awesome. And then storage is super important. You want to send it to an email. And then what's cool about this that most people don't use is you could do multiple. So I typically send it to an email and I send it to Google Drive. What that means is it sends it to a Google Sheet that you just create. And it automatically sends it there. So I have a backup always. I never just do one, because if in the worst case something happens to the email, I have the Google Drive as a backup, which is awesome and great. So then I do both. It's really easy to set up. You just hit connect. You go through the process to connect it to your Google account. It takes like 2 clicks, and then you just give it a name and it'll build a Google Sheet for you. You're good to go. So we'll go back to design. I'll turn it off from a lightbox. That's there. And then I could come in here, make the form a little bigger. I don't recommend ever doing forms across the whole page. I think that's personally way too much for this site, but let's go center. Boom, we're good to go. And in this case, I'd probably just remove the button. Let's get rid of that. I'll drag that up. And I'll get rid of this. And I'll have that like that. So boom, there's our call to action section. Again, I probably changed the background, changed some other stuff there for the look and feel, but we're good to go. So I'll hit save and we're set. Now let's talk about the header and the footer. So I'm going to go into edit, and now we're going to design out the header and the footer. You're probably like, why didn't we do this earlier? Well, I just decided to do it now. All right, so edit site header. When you're in here, there's 3 main categories: the globe, desktop, and mobile. So for the globe, we'll go to site title and logo. We already have the site title here, but then we could come in here and add a logo. So I'm going to upload a file, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to choose this right here as a potential logo. I'll drop it in, and then it gives you options for the height on the logo for desktop and then for mobile. And then if you actually want to upload a separate logo for mobile, you could do that as well. Again, if you're just getting started, that's way too complicated, so keep it simple. But here you'll see the logo will upload, and once that's done, we'll be able to adjust the height. So just like that, we have the logo up. It's pretty big already. So I'll probably go down to like say 40. I'm a numbers guy, so I really like it to be specific. And then I'll go to the mobile view, see what that looks like. Honestly, I like how that looks, so it's good to go. We can make it a little smaller if we like, but I'll just keep it there. I'll go back into edit site header, and we're good to go here. So then I'll go to elements. This is where you could add in a button. So if you want the book a consultation button, you could do that, and then change this to say book. If you want to add your social links, remember we added them earlier, you'll see them there. And then you could add in the language switch and then a cart. So you could easily add in all these items just with a few clicks. Big recommendation. This is probably my favorite navigation. It's the most common, which is a good thing. That means people know it. They're comfortable with it. They know what to do when they see it. It's probably the best navigation to use overall. Personally, I don't like having my social links in the navigation here. So I'll remove that. And then I'm not really selling anything, so I'll get rid of that in this process. Next, we're going to look at style. Now, there's a lot of options here, and I think it's cool, but I don't really use all of them. And it could just make your site busy. Now, right now, this is allowing the background image to fill the space, which is cool, but then some of the pages just become a little complicated. So what I recommend to start out, you could figure this out later, but you could just go to solid and then choose a color and figure out how you want it laid out. In this case, the background color, I'm going to change to like, let's do this dark green. And then the font color here, I'm just going to change it all to white. Actually, I'll change it to the black. Honestly, this is really heavy for this layout. I don't really prefer it. Yeah, actually, let's just keep it as it was. I'll do that, and I will just need to replace the logo, which is simple. That's actually really easy because the logo is just a file. So I can go in here, replace this. Perfect. This is our old logo. I'll just upload this as a placeholder for now so you can see it. Perfect, just like that. Again, this one is a little bit smaller, so I'll make this a little bit bigger. Let's go there, and then we will go probably around there, and then we could adjust mobile again later, but I'll just add that in for now. We're good to go. Fixed position basically means when they scroll up and down the page, it'll always stay at the top. So you could turn that on. I think basic is the preferred. Scroll back is a little weird. It gets a little busy, so you could use basic. All right. Now we'll go to desktop. Here you could start to adjust the spacing, the padding. So vertical padding is a little bit of a lot. So I'll just make this a little bit less. 1.5 is good. 1.6 is fine. Element spacing is the spacing between major elements. Link spacing is the space between the links. So element spacing is going to be the space here for us between the button and the navigation. So if I increase this, you'll see it just moves that. Which I'll adjust that. And then link spacing will change the spacing right here in between these two. Boom, just like that. So I'll keep it like that. We're good to go. Then I'll go to mobile. And then you could come in here and adjust a few things. So the mobile icon, the menu icon, I'll choose that. Thickness, I'll choose medium, and we're good to go. Boom. And just like that, you've designed the desktop, the header navigation. I'm going to go to the bottom and go to the footer. Again, I have this like actually kind of crazy footer right now because I have like 7 sections built out. This is part of my template to make it easier so I don't have to like rebuild all these sections. But I'm just going to remove a bunch of these and just use the one I like the most, which will actually be that one. Okay, cool. So now I have this one section for a footer, and we're good to go. I'd go in here and make these links. Let me show you one tip. So when you're making a section like this, so let's call this company, and then I'm going to do Command Option 3. That's heading 4 right there. So that's good. And I'm going to do About Us. And then when I press Enter, and I put like contact us, you'll see how there's a lot of space here. If you want to eliminate that spacing, just hit backspace and do Shift Enter. And it basically just does one space, Shift Enter, one space. So book a consultation and then blog. Cool. So those are the links. Then I go in here and I highlight this, hit Command K, or hit this little link right here, add in the link, again, about, hit apply. What's really weird about this, which I hope they fix, is Command Option. So if I type in /, do you see how it blocks it? Like if that's the link I want, I can't hit save. It's like blocked. So if you hit Tab on your keyboard, it gets you out of it. Then you could hit apply, you're good to go. And so you could go in here, set up all your links accordingly. Again, it's / book, apply. You'll have to hit apply. You can't just click out of it. So if I do this and then just / and I click out of it, I have to hit apply, and then it'll save. And then once we're done there, we're good to go. So I'll hit save. Beautiful. Literally, we are in the process of building a full site. Now, once you're done with all your pages, you're ready to launch, you've designed it out, you got everything working, all the buttons are working, all of that's set to go. You'll go back and then you'll go to settings. And the first thing you're going to do is go to billing and pay for the site. So you'll click in here and then you'll hit upgrade. And then from there, once you're in here, you'll either go to personal, business, basic, or advanced. 90% of my customers go to business. They're good to go. Use code Iskander. You'll be able to get, I believe, 20% off with that code. Once you pay for it, then you could connect your domain, which you'll go to domains. And then it'll say, get a domain or use a domain I own. You'll go through that process, type in the domain, add it in. That's its own video, which I have other YouTube content on that. I have a ton of YouTube content on all of this, but that's a great resource for you. And then from there, that's where you could go to site availability and go to public and be able to make this site live. Just like that, you built a site. This 1 hour review is for you so that you could really take it to the next level. In this hour too, it's literally gotten darker outside as we've been recording this. So Best of luck to you. If you're just launching your business on Squarespace and you want more tips, make sure you subscribe. We publish new content every single week so that you can get the best in Squarespace on your site so that you can have the best life, enjoy yourself, and not have to worry about your website. You don't have to become a developer to develop websites. I will help you launch sites quickly and easily. And this whole process, this whole channel is here for you to scale your business. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment below. And if you got value from this video, like the video. It'll do something to the YouTube algorithm and make them really love this video more. So please like the video. If you have any questions, drop them below. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.